I've been doing social media for, I actually don't know how long. Let me check. Let's see. I'm gonna say about 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I've been waking up at like 6 a.m. for like the last couple days. And now it's time for me to answer your guys' biggest question. Okay, holding back tears because, geez. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. We're gonna be doing a little Q&A. I asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram, so I have a whole list of all your guys' questions and a few more just so that you can get to know me better. And I love yapping, so I figured what's better than a long form YouTube video that we can just chat and get to know each other better. I don't even know where to start because I feel like there's so much that we could talk about, but I wanted to do like a little intro so you guys can really get to know me and I can just share a little bit about myself before we start answering all your guys' questions. Well, let's get into it. My name is Ellie. I'm 24 years old and I have been married for a year and a half about. My husband's name is Matthew. He is 25. No, oh my gosh, he's 26. He's 26. I was born and raised in Oregon and I had lived there for the first 20 years of my life. When I was 19 or 20, I moved to California, Orange County, California, specifically for a Bible college. I moved with my best friend. We didn't know anyone. We didn't know anything about the church, about the college. We had literally no idea, but God called us to move. So we moved to Orange County. I went to Oceans College. It was a 3-year Bible college program, and that's actually where I met my husband. He was a year above me in the college, and we liked each other for the first year, but we were just friends. We only hung out in like friend groups. We didn't date. We just really wanted to get to know each other, and like I think we both were very aware, like, if this is my person, like I want to make sure. And so that's why we were just friends for 9 months. And then he asked me to be his girlfriend. And so we've been together for like 3.5 years because we dated for 2 years. Yeah, so dated for 2 years, then got engaged. We were only engaged for 3 months and then we got married, and we've been married a year and a half. Once we got married, we lived in Orange County for a full year. And after that year, we moved to New York City. We were in New York City for 5 months and now we are in Oregon. So that's a little bit of the timeline, a little bit of backstory, how I got here, and a little bit of what's been going on in my life. Okay, now let's get into the real Q&A. I have my iPad here, so I have all the questions that we're gonna go over. And now it's time for me to answer your guys' biggest question. Why did you move back to Oregon? This is a very long story, I feel like, but I will try to make it as short as possible. I feel like I have to back up a little bit and explain how we moved to New York and why we moved to New York for you to understand why we're back in Oregon. When we were in California, we really never actually thought that we would leave. We had an amazing church. We had an amazing community. Our life was great. Like, things were amazing. It was not like we were leaving a bad thing for a good thing. We were leaving a really, really good thing for something we didn't know anything about. Honestly, me and my husband had a lot of conversations before we got married about like, what is our life going to look like? What do we want our life to look like? We had never really felt like we were going to be in a spot forever. Like, California didn't feel like home. Oregon didn't feel like home. I mean, they did feel like home, but it wasn't like we see ourselves being here for the rest of our life. Like, I couldn't say that about a place. I don't know if I still can say that about a place. We just felt like we're going to want to move a lot, live in different places, just experience things. So when the idea of New York came up, it wasn't super far-fetched, but at the same time, it was like, wait, that's like all the way across the country. Like, that's on the other side of the United States. I will say though, it was a little bit of a random, like, hold on, we've only been married for a year. Why are we moving to New York? Again, we both worked remote. A lot of people were like, so did you move for a job? Did you move for content? And all the answers, I was like, no. We literally moved because we felt like we were supposed to. It was crazy. We had so many different dreams. We sought a lot of counsel, talked to like mentors and family, and everyone was like, just go. Because honestly, we were like, I never want to live a life where I am afraid to do something because I don't know what's on the other side. So we decided that we were just going to do it and have faith and believe and just, you know, what's the worst thing that could happen? And we did it. It was really, really hard to move to New York. We had to say goodbye to all our friends, a bunch of family. Like, it was not easy to just pack everything up and leave, especially when we're like, why are we leaving and what is in New York? And it was amazing. We had so much fun. We met so many people. It honestly kind of felt like it's one of those things where we can say we did it, and not like in a way, not like a prideful way, more like I want to be able to tell my kids we moved to New York. We weren't afraid to do it. Like, We've gone on adventures, we've seen the world, we've experienced things. And I want my kids to be able to feel like they have the same freedom and can make those big choices one day, that like, even if they don't understand what they're doing fully, I believe in them and they can believe in themselves too. So New York was great, but we were having this feeling of like, I miss family, and also I'm ready for a family. We've been married for a year and a half now, and we don't want to wait too long to have kids. And it was just really heavy on my husband's heart that like, I want to be a dad. I'm ready to start a family, and New York does not feel like the place to do that. Ultimately, something just didn't feel right about having kids in New York. I didn't really want to raise a family there. I didn't see that for like a long-term vision, long-term future thing. Also, we really missed like just a slower lifestyle, just things we didn't realize that we really valued in our life. And when you're in a completely different space, you realize, wow, I actually really value that and want that. So as we were starting to feel these things and have these conversations, we basically were like, okay, well, let's just see what steps we can take. We talked to mentors, we talked to family, and they were all just like, honestly, we trust you guys, and whatever you feel like is your next decision, do it. So we talked to our realtors, we talked with our landlord, and we decided to do a lease break. We had no idea though how long it was going to take for someone to take over our lease. That can take a couple months if someone doesn't want your apartment. So we were like, honestly, if we're here till the end of our lease, cool, but if we get out sooner, then great. And within like a week of putting it on the market, the perfect tenant, the perfect applicant, she was such a sweet lady, literally came and saw the apartment, and she took it over, she got approved, and we had like 2 weeks to move out of there. It literally worked out so perfectly. And you're probably wondering, okay, well, why Oregon? Oregon is where I'm from. My parents have a big farmhouse here. We have lots of land, and there was a big extra room for us to stay in. And so honestly, we were like, Oregon feels like the perfect place to relax, to rest, to just, I don't know, just chill, hang out, be with family, be with friends, and not feel like we have to have the next season figured out right now. After moving from California to New York and then to just go straight back to California, we just want to make sure that's where we're supposed to be again. We don't want to just pay rent or get a house or whatever because we just feel like you have to do that because you're an adult. I honestly never thought I would ever move back in with my parents, like ever. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I love my family so much. They're amazing. But it's like, once you're out of the house and once you've been married for a while, we've had our own place, no one wants to like go back and have to live with their parents again. Obviously, everyone has their own journey. And so that was a big thing for me, was like, I never thought I would do this. And it honestly just felt so right. I have no idea also how long we're going to be here. This could be a 3-month thing. This could be a 6-month thing. The plan is not to live with my parents long term at all. We just want to figure out what's next for us and make that decision with confidence. And yeah, so that's why we are in Oregon. Knowing what you know about New York City, would you genuinely recommend moving there? Honestly, I think it's an amazing thing for people to experience. I wish we would have gone into it with the thought that, like, let's live here short term and see if we want to be here long term. I think we kind of had flipped that vice versa, where we were like, let's go into this thinking long term, maybe we'll only be here for a short term, because then you could rent something short term to figure out if you even like living in the city. New York City is so different from any city you've ever lived in. I've personally never lived in like a big city. I've always lived in more of like the rural suburbs area. So I had no idea what it was going to be like. And it was an experience for sure. I think it's an amazing adventure. Honestly, I think everyone should experience something like that in their life. I think for me, I would just recommend going on an adventure, living somewhere new, meeting new people, whatever that looks like, even if it's for a short season. So yes, I would recommend New York City, but also I would recommend just going and living anywhere that you've wanted to, trying new things. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about your values. You learn so much about your purpose. And I just think that's really, really important. And it will help with so much growth in your life. I think it was great and I loved it and I would totally recommend it, but I would not necessarily recommend it for like a long season. I think even everyone who lives in New York would say New York is a huge melting pot. People move in, people move out. So I think if you want to experience it, do it. I mean, honestly, what's the worst thing that could happen? What's the biggest challenge you've faced since moving back to Oregon? I think the hardest thing for me has been content and my job. It's just a very different lifestyle. I love going to coffee shops. I love going out and experiencing things. And I live in the middle of nowhere. I live on like 6 acres. We literally have cows and chickens, no joke. So going from New York City, where there's no grass, no animals, besides a bunch of dogs and like buildings, to literally a farm. And the nearest Target is like a 25-minute drive. I know, first world problems, but I'm just saying the difference between those two things kind of has been a little bit challenging for me. Let me just say it is a simpler life. And I think honestly, I'm learning a lot about myself, that I need to chill out and not care so much about like aesthetics and just having a picture perfect life. So I think honestly, I'm learning a lot about myself, and I just love that. Like, if I wouldn't have moved home, I don't think I would have learned all of these things, and all these things that I am going to continue to learn. So I'm super grateful for that. And honestly, the thing I was probably the most concerned about was living with my family. Not that my family is bad. My family's amazing. We have the best relationship. But I think everyone knows living with family is just difficult in general. And that's probably been like one of the easiest parts. It's been so amazing, so great. So I'm super blessed that my family and I and my husband all get along really, really well. So that's been amazing. What's one thing you wish you knew before moving to New York City? I feel like there's so many answers to this question, but one of the big things for me is it was very, very hard to find community. Just being married and in a different season than a lot of people in New York. I feel like a lot of people are single in New York. So then we were trying to find relationships or friendships with married couples so that like we would both have friends to hang out with. And that was just a challenge. I feel like a lot of people think, oh my gosh, there's so many people in New York, you're constantly around people. But like you're around people, but not talking to those people or have any connection to those people. So it kind of felt lonely at times. Like you're on the subway with, you know, hundreds of people, but everyone has headphones in and you're just keeping to yourself. So it's one of those things I think a lot of people would say, it's like you're surrounded by so many people, but you still feel kind of lonely. So that was very hard for me. And the second thing is probably that everything is inconvenient. And obviously, like the things that were inconvenient at the time, I didn't really mind because I'm like, I live in New York City. I don't care. Things just like you walk to the grocery store and you carry those groceries back, even if it's 10 minutes and your groceries are heavy. You then have to carry those groceries up 5 flights of stairs if you live at a walk up. If you want to go to the gym, it's going to take you a 30-minute subway there and a 30-minute subway back. Or like our laundry was in the basement. We had to go down 5 flights of stairs just to do a load of laundry. Just things you don't necessarily like think about of like, whoa, like everyday tasks are just harder. And again, you know, you're living in New York City, so take it for what it is. But that's one thing I didn't realize is like, oh, like everything I want to do today is going to be just a little bit harder than it would be if I lived not in New York City. How did you get into content creation? Okay, so this actually started back in Bible college. You had to pick like a team to serve on for that year. So when I first got there, I was like, I have no idea what team I want to serve on. I kind of knew what I didn't want to do. I was like, I know I don't want to do kids. I love kids, but I was just like, I don't want to get stuck in that. I didn't want to do like the welcome team or anything like that. I love people, but I want to do something a little more hands-on. And I don't know, my friend was just like, hey, you should do social media with me. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I've never done that. I have no experience in it, but I'd love to learn. So I joined the social media team and I basically just learned everything there was to know about social media. And I didn't really realize that it was like a job or a career or a thing people did. This was back in like 2021. And I don't know, I think being from Portland, it's like there's not a big creator world over here. But then being in Orange County, it's like we're really close to LA. There's just like a lot of creatives, especially a lot of people that are content creators. So I ended up falling in love with it. All that to say, I started doing my own content a little bit here and there. And then I was like, wait, I think I could do this for a job. Like, I'm pretty good at it. I was helping my parents with some of their social medias and they were telling some of their friends about it. So word kind of got out that I was like helping manage people's socials. That's what I was doing, was just social media management for other businesses. And it was not super big. I wasn't taking on a lot of clients because I was still in the college. And so it was kind of like I only had time for part-time work because the college was like a full-time job. It wasn't until about probably a year ago. Okay. Gotta stretch my legs out here. Now let me give you some timeline on all this because I didn't start working for myself or doing content creation as a creator until like 8, 10, maybe a year ago. When me and my husband got married, we started a media company because he does podcast editing. We realized like, okay, we could work together on this. He has strengths, I have strengths. So we started a media company and we had lots of clients. We loved working together. It was the dream. We were remote. Everything was great. But what was really hard was for me to keep posting content and doing my own content. And that's what I really, really, really loved and was super passionate about. Like my dream was always to be able to work for myself and be like a creator. Like that was the dream. And I honestly never thought that I could do this. Like I'm not joking. Like I kind of just felt like, I don't know, that's for other people. And so when I realized like, okay, I can do this, it was funny because I would put off like actual work to create videos for myself because I loved it so much. And at that time, I was not getting paid for anything. So my husband was very sweet, but he was like, honey, like that's like a passion project for you right now. You're not getting paid. You have to focus on like the clients that we have. Like we have to get work done for them. So it was always this pull of like, I want to do my own stuff, but we have clients that I have to work on. So before we moved to New York, I had done a few brand deals and I was like, wow, I think I could do this if I really like put all my eggs in one basket. But that was like really scary for me to go all in on yourself. If you're new to the content world or know nothing about it, it is not the most consistent thing. Sometimes you'll get 4 brand deals a month. Sometimes you'll get 1. And so it's one of those things where yes, you can go all in on yourself and you have way more time, way more freedom, but you have to work really hard and be super consistent because you still have to make money. So anyway, I was really terrified of that because the client thing was consistent for me. It felt like, okay, I have some security financially, but I was just not feeling creative. I was not feeling like that was what I was supposed to be doing. So once we moved to New York City, I had about 1 or 2 more clients and I was like, okay, I am ready to let these go. So my husband was doing his podcast editing and I was doing part-time content creation and then also managing those other clients. And it was actually February 1st that I completely dropped all my clients and I now work completely for myself. I'm a full-time content creator. That's so crazy to say because a year ago, I never would have thought that I could even do this, but I'm so grateful now that I worked so hard and I get to do this. And that's my content journey. That was very long, but I just want to say I'm so grateful. Being a content creator is, I think people look at it and it's like, oh, that's an easy job. Like you just post videos and whatever. But if you are a content creator or have ever done any sort of content creation, you know it's so much more than that. And it actually takes a lot of work to come up with new content ideas, like to be consistent, to actually film and to edit. Like YouTube videos take me about 6-ish hours to edit, I feel like. So it is not an easy, just like, oh, you just make videos. It can be very hard. And also you're not getting paid for most of the videos that you make. Most of the videos you make are to nurture and to just keep your followers entertained. You can't do ads every single video. So that's my content creation journey. I'm so excited to be here and I'm so excited for what's next. What is your number 1 tip for someone who wants to start content creation? When I saw this question, I was like, I don't know if I can think of just one thing, but I immediately thought, be consistent. I feel like I've had a lot of people and friends ask me this and I always tell them, you just have to start and keep posting. Like, be consistent. The minute that you pull back and the minute you're like, I'm not seeing any growth, I'm not seeing whatever, like that's when you'll stop posting and you'll give up and you were only just starting. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. And I would just say, if you want to do it, do it. You can't really be half in and half out. Obviously, find a balance. But if it's something you want to do, even on the side, just do it. I try to tell everyone, like, it is so rewarding. It's so fulfilling. And once you see growth, you're like, oh my gosh, this was so worth it. So just start and be consistent. What do you use to film and what are your camera settings? For this vlog and for my YouTube videos, I use the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It's like this little handheld gimbal. It is so nice. I don't know how people use like the big cameras to like hold. That feels really hard. This is so nice because it's tiny and the camera is on like a stabilizer. So when you move, it like moves with, anyway, it's so nice. I love it. It wasn't super expensive either. and I just feel like it's so portable. It's perfect for vlogging. For my camera settings, I actually don't fully know. Let's check. I do have the iPhone 17 Pro Max, so I have the biggest, chunkiest phone and the newest one right now. So that could be why my camera looks so crispy. I always try to film on my back camera. This front camera does film 4K 60, which is kind of crazy. I think that's why the front camera on this phone is so much better. But the back camera also has 4K 60. It actually might have, oh, it actually has 4K 120. Let me see what my camera settings are. One of my biggest tips for when you're filming and taking pictures, number one is to shoot on 2x. I think 2x photos look so much better than 1x, and also 2x videos if you're trying to get like aesthetic B-roll or like little shots. I love when they're more zoomed in. And then also turn your exposure on your photos and videos down. It will just make them look so clean and crispy and give you the whole aesthetic vibe that you are going for. I'm gonna show you my camera settings right here. This is what I have. I don't know if this is even good, but this is what I use. And everyone has recently been asking me like, wow, why are your videos so crispy? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So this is what I use for my camera settings. And if it works for you, great. If not, sorry, you're gonna have to watch a different video. I don't know what to tell you. My only other camera or thing that I use for content is my Fujifilm camera. And everyone always asks me, what film camera do you have? I have the Fujifilm X6. It is a digital film camera, so I don't have to develop the film, and I can add any sort of preset into the camera. So like it can shoot in black and white. It can shoot like in a vintage retro film, and you just input that film simulation into the camera. It is so nice. They have been sold out for so long. I don't even know if you can still get them. My husband searched far and wide and got that for me for our anniversary gift, and it is my baby. I love her so much. So if you ever see me posting film photos on my Instagram or TikTok, it's from that camera. To wrap this all up, let's do a couple more personal questions. What's a small thing in your everyday life that brings you joy? I would say coffee and sunshine. I love my coffee every single day. I look forward to it so much. Like when I get to make my coffee, I'm happy. And then probably sunshine. I love when it is sunny outside, like just the feeling of going outside and it's sunny, or you look out your windows and the sun is shining, the sky is blue. Like, oh my gosh, it just reminds me of spring and summer, and there's nothing better. Maybe that's just because we're kind of in the middle of winter and I cannot wait for spring and summer. Oh my gosh, I love the sun. So yeah, what's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self? I'm like trying to think, and I'm like low-key getting emotional. Okay, I would probably tell her it's all gonna be worth it and it all is gonna work out. I had a really good childhood, but I also had a very hard childhood, and so if I was talking to little Ellie right now, I would probably tell her, like, just wait until you see what your life is going to look like, because it's going to be beautiful. And you would not imagine the amazing things that you've been blessed with, and the people and your husband. And I would just say everything you've been through is going to be worth it, and just you wait. Okay, holding back tears because, geez. What's one daily habit that has helped you grow the most recently? I would say waking up early. I am not the most consistent with that at all. Okay, my husband is really good at it and he helps get me out of bed in the morning. But I've been waking up at like 6 a.m. for like the last couple days. No, I've been trying to wake up at 6 a.m. Sometimes it's not 6 a.m. But waking up earlier and then going immediately to the gym, waking up early just feels so good. Like, one small win in the morning, and then the gym, another win. So getting the gym out of the way also is like so nice, because then you're like, oh my gosh, I already went to the gym today and it's like 8 a.m. Like sometimes I get to the end of my day and I'm like, what did I do today? Like, how was it already 6 o'clock? Like I did nothing. And usually that's when I slept in. So I think waking up early and immediately going to the gym, just getting those two things out of the way. And then it's like, okay, I have the rest of the day to work, hang out, do what needs to get done. I feel like I have a lot of different random little habits that I love, but those are probably the two that I like want to be consistent in, and they just help set me up for the best days. What's your biggest dream you want to accomplish right now? I am very, very close to getting 100K on Instagram. That has been a very big dream of mine for a really long time. So that feels like the biggest dream, but since that's almost going to happen very soon. I feel like I need to come up with another one. I would say probably being a mom. I have always dreamed of being a mom, and I know that's not necessarily a goal I can accomplish right now, but I feel like it's going to be happening soon in this next season of life. So that's something I've dreamed about since I was a little girl and think about like very, very often. It's very scary in ways. Like, I do not feel prepared to be a mom, but at the same time, it's like the craziest thought. Like, literally, me and my husband are going to make a little me and him together. And it's like, I get to take care of it and raise it and love it. And I'm just like, I don't know. I love kids. I love babies. I think that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to. I think that's one thing I'm excited about for this next season is I did so much content in New York City about like fashion and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm switching a little bit more to more like family, lifestyle, like just slower living, things like that. And I'm excited to bring a kid into the world and like just be able to share that part of my life on social media. Like that sounds so, so fun. And I just like love watching mom content. I love just the pregnancy content. It's so fun and just a completely different world. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. Well, thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me today while we did a little Q&A. That was so fun. I loved all the questions that you had. I feel like we need to do another video of these in the future. So ask me any questions in the comments and maybe we'll come back with a part 2. We'll see you next time. Bye guys.